Man United getting embarrassed by City. Man United getting embarrassed by a rival. How many times have we said that over these last 5 years? I'm exhausted. That game was bad for Ruben Amorim, and that is the understatement of the century. Playing once a week, that's going to help United. Meh. International break, maybe we'll come back. Meh. United got embarrassed across the pitch there today. I'm going to speak about the structural issues. I'm going to speak about the lack of quality. But look, Gary Neville can speak for himself there, saying he's not angry. He feels nothing, absolutely nothing, which is far worse. Yeah, I'm angry. I'm pissed off. I could have a picture of Dorgu here. I could have a picture of Bruno. I could have a picture of Ugarte. Everybody really, apart from Mbouma. And I thought actually Seshko, we'll speak about him later, but as if I'm going to try and pick a positive out of that performance. The utter lack of quality from United, with every cross, with every final ball, with every opportunity that could lead to a chance, wrong decision, wrong pass, wrong weight of pass. Every time. And in that second half, first 15 minutes of the game, quality, nope. Then City controlled it. First 10 minutes of the second half, first 7 minutes. Nope. Haaland gets a chance, 2-0. Makes it 3-0. Should have been 4-0. Could have been 5-0. Got embarrassed. And that, as I said, Gary Neville, mate, you can say what you want there. I'm fuming. United's midfield got completely and utterly overran there. And I have to point that towards Ruben Amorim because people have been talking about the structural rigidity of Amorim. It's why Mainoo's not playing, because it's either Mainoo or it's Bruno. Or in a game like that, when you kind of chasing it towards the end, you play Bruno further up, and then all of a sudden you got a space for Mainoo, who played quite well. But the midfield two, how do you beat a midfield two? Well, let's just play a midfield three. You just put an extra body in there, and you always have an out ball. So, it doesn't really matter who we play in that midfield two, but Bruno and Ugarte, Casemiro and Mainoo, whatever setup you want, especially in games like this. The midfield gets overran. And I don't think any personnel changes that. And that's why I don't want any more. Amorim needs to tweak. I'm not saying rip it up and throw it out the window. I told you a way I thought it could happen. Instead of playing one number 9 and two number 8s, you drop the number 9, so he becomes an extra midfielder. You then got a triangle. And you push your 2 number 10s further forward, so they're kind of supporting strikers, split strikers. Therefore, you've got your 3 in the middle. You still got your 2 outlets up front. It's not too much of a change. It might not. Maybe that's not how it works. I don't know. I'm not a masterful tactician. But that's the thing. You don't have to be a masterful tactician to be able to outrun that United midfield. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter whether Carlos Baleba's playing in there, whether Bruno Fernandes is playing there, Kobbie Mainoo, Adam Wharton. List off all the midfielders you want. When you're playing 2, it's simply a numbers game. And that's what City did. And they found it quite easy as a consequence. And I'll go back to it again there. But even with those structural issues, which we've seen plenty of times before, but it got horribly exposed there. And when you're now, after the season that we've had and we finished 15th, and we lost the Europa League final, and we're now with 4 points after our first 4 games, including a loss to Arsenal and a loss to City and a really quite embarrassing loss to City, then these questions are going to be asked. But even with all those structural issues, I'm going back to that quality there again. Man United should have had easily a golden... let's be honest, probably wouldn't have taken a chance. But in the first 15 minutes, we should have created 1 or 2 really good opportunities to score. We probably would have missed them anyway. But we didn't. And this here, right? Choose your victim. Put Luke Shaw front and centre if you want. Doku skip past him. Choose Bruno Fernandes, who didn't track Foden on the edge of the box. Choose the fact that Manchester United have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the box with 2 City players, and Foden somehow manages to have pretty much 5 yards of space completely around him for that goal. It's shocking. It's shockingly easy how Manchester United were beaten there today, right? And truth be told, and I mean this in the most polite way possible, my opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. About whether we feel Ruben Amorim needs more time, whether Ruben Amorim gets given the season. I went into this season and I was really curious to see what happened there against City. I know how we played in those games last season. Can we go a bit more on the front foot? Well, we can in the first 15, but the quality isn't there. And then we recede into our shells, and then the structural problems come to the surface. The fact that we've got a midfield too then becomes a weakness, which doesn't change at any point during the game. And as I said, it doesn't matter what we think, I think, you think, any United fan thinks. It just matters what Jim Ratcliffe thinks, really, and Jason Wilcox. It's about improvements. It's about, to quote Ruben Amorim himself, it's about the small details. Every single small detail, United got wrong there today. In that first 15, we were pressing well. I thought we won the ball high up the pitch. It was what this system, when it's working, that's what it does. And it creates a chance. Nah, never mind. Every single ball was completely and utterly crap. So we never made those chances. So the benefits of the system were kind of thrown out the window. And then the weaknesses of the system get completely exposed. City win 3-0. And I'll be honest, that should have been more than 3-0. The miss from Haaland, I think Reinders went through 1-1 as well. It could have been an absolute mauling. But it kind of was anyway. 3-0. Right. That is a defeat that I think is going to have repercussions. How can it not? This season, going into it, it's like playing one game a week. I like the signings that we've made. I liked how we played against Arsenal. The result could have been better. I liked how we played in the first half against Fulham. Then we were crap. We should have won that game a lot easier against Burnley. But we won. And then City there today. I do feel angry about it, man. Gary Neville can sit there and say he's not. But I'm pissed off with how easy that was for what is an average City team compared to what we know and have seen of City in these recent years. And City's start to the season has been equally, going into that game, City's start to the season has been equally as stumbling as United's. But you wouldn't know that. They brushed past us. They didn't really have to try too much. And United now have been embarrassed. Amorim's been embarrassed. The structure was completely outplayed. And any time we had a chance going forward, as I said, apart, look, I wanted to say a quick word about him. I actually thought Šeško played quite well. I don't really think he was in the game. I think when he was in the game, I actually thought his fundamentals were okay. And I thought Mbumo did well. Of course, Donnarumma made that save. But that's what happens when you got the quality players that deliver in the right moments. Just humiliation.